Did you know that sometimes the greatest displays of faith happen in the most intense situations? In this story, we journey back to ancient Israel's neighboring kingdom of Babylon, where faith was tested in the most brutal of ways. I promise you've never heard courage described quite like this before, so stick around until the end. Our story begins during the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar, a king of Babylon who had developed a bit of a god complex. He constructed an enormous golden statue, one that towered above the people, shimmering in the sunlight. The king issued a decree. When the music plays, everyone, no matter who you are or where you're from, must bow down and worship this statue. Anyone who refuses, well, they face one punishment, being thrown into a fiery furnace. Enter three young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Captives from Israel, their faith and heritage were firmly rooted in the worship of the one true God. They lived out their beliefs boldly, even in a land where multiple gods were revered, and the fear of punishment loomed over everyone. But for these three, the command to bow before the golden statue wasn't just inconvenient, it was impossible. When the music began to play, a sea of people knelt in unison, their heads bowed to the ground. But there, standing strong amidst the worshippers, were Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Can you picture it? Three upright figures in a crowd of thousands bent low. Their refusal was unmistakable, and soon enough, it reached the ears of King Nebuchadnezzar himself. The king, furious, summoned the men and gave them one last chance to bow. "If you don't," he warned, "there is no God who can deliver you from my hand." Boldly and without hesitation they replied, "O king, we do not need to defend ourselves to you. If we are thrown into the furnace, the God we serve is able to save us. And even if he does not, let it be known that we will never serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up." These words were a thunderclap in the king's court. If there was one thing Nebuchadnezzar was not accustomed to, it was defiance. His anger boiled over, and he commanded the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter than usual, a heat so intense that the very soldiers tasked with throwing the men into the fire were killed by its searing flames. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were bound and tossed into the fiery abyss. Onlookers must have held their breath, expecting screams, expecting the agony of flesh meeting fire within seconds. But then, something miraculous happened. The king, watching intently, jumped to his feet in confusion and awe. "Weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire?" he asked his advisors. They nodded. "Certainly, O king. But I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed," he exclaimed, his voice laced with astonishment. "And the 4th looks like a son of the gods." What was going on here? God had sent a divine protector, an angel, or perhaps even a pre-incarnate appearance of Jesus, into the fire with the 3 young men. The flames, meant to destroy, became mere light and warmth for these faithful followers. King Nebuchadnezzar called out for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to come out. When they emerged, the crowd couldn't believe their eyes. Not a single hair was singed. Not a thread of their garments was scorched. They didn't even smell of fire. The impossible had happened. Their faith had literally delivered them through the flames. Nebuchadnezzar was a man who had witnessed countless things in his life, but nothing compared to this. He declared, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command. No other God can save in this way." So what can we learn from this story? Their courage wasn't just about defying a king, it was about trust. They trusted God so completely that even in the face of death, they held firm. And it's this kind of faith that reminds us that no matter what flames life throws our way, there's a God who walks with us, protecting, guiding, and proving his power in the most unfathomable ways. Think about it. When life heats up, will you stand in faith, knowing that you serve a God who goes through the fire with you? Let's take this story as a reminder to be bold, to stand firm, and to trust in the one who saves. Remember, sometimes the greatest miracles are born in the hottest flames.